If you watched my video called I Was Born for This, I think it was that video, there was a part where I talk about how even if you like manifest a car accident or like a flat tire, you have to remember that everything's always working out for you. Everything's always working out for you. You have to like how you respond to things, right? So then I said the example of like, you know, maybe you get a flat tire and then you meet the love of your life because of that. Okay, so in Eat, Pray, Love, Liz, Eat, Pray, Love person, Liz, gets hit by a bus, right? She gets hit by a bus, and then she's also going and visiting this medicine man every single day, and she shows him her infected cut, and he's a medicine man, he can heal everything, and then he goes, oh, it's infected, go see a doctor, and she just didn't question it, even though he's a medicine man, and she was like, you know, maybe he knew the bigger plan, right? The bigger plan. So she goes to another medicine woman, a healer, and she ends up buying this healer a house, like raising all this money with all her friends to buy this person a house. And at the fucking healer place, she meets this Brazilian woman who invites her to a party, and at that party, she meets her husband. Right? Like that's just, it's an example of how being hit by a bus is a good thing. You know, that's how you have to look at everything in your life. It's how you have to look at everything. And one thing that I'm just really like, more than ever before, I'm like learning is to do that, is to embrace contrast. Embrace the shitty things in your life. Embrace the stuff, you know? Embrace the shitty things that happen in your life because it's all fucking happening for you. Everything's always working out. Everything's always working out for you. Everything's always working out for me. Things are always working out for me. This is what you have to tell yourself, no matter what. So it's like, how can you look at it in a positive way? You know? Like, it's just, it's always working out for you. Always. And looking for the positives in every situation, you know? And just knowing like, oh, this seems like it would be bad, but I wonder what's gonna come out of it. You know what I mean? And that's just the attitude to go through life. There's this just nasty ass fucking bug on my porch that I just keep looking at, and I'm just excited for the day that I have a boyfriend to take care of that for me. But, ew. What I like kind of realized today is just that for the first time ever, I think, I finally feel like I am going to be able to reach a place where I just don't give a fuck about what people think. And, you know, I think that's just something that's been such a pervasive part of my life, caring about what people think, that, you know, you hear all these people in the stories of like, yeah, I've seen videos of people being like, oh yeah, like I used to have social anxiety and I used to care so much about what people think, and now I don't anymore, and like this is all the things that I did, and like meh. And I was always like, okay, yeah, like I just didn't believe that it was possible for me. You know what I mean? I almost, even when I saw them, I was like, you know what? You probably didn't have it as bad as I have it, you know? Like your trauma, probably not as bad as my trauma. Like these are the thoughts that I would have when I would see these people, because it just seemed so unrealistic to me that they would ever heal and not have these like overwhelming, overbearing fears of what other people think. And I'm not saying that I'm there yet. I'm not. I'm just saying that I fully acknowledge and fully believe 100% that it is now. Okay, I need to not face this bug. Do you want to see it? It doesn't even look big on photo because I showed my friend and it doesn't look big, but it's just gross. Like, look at it. It has like mustaches. I don't fucking know, man. It's not even that gross looking or big, but to me, it's just not something that I want to deal with, you know? But my boyfriend's gonna deal with it, so thanks, honey. Thanks, hon. But what was the fuck? My train of thought. Okay, yeah. I just fully am at a place where I fully believe that it is possible. And not only possible, it's where I'm headed. I'm like gonna be there. Right now, I'm like, I'd say that I'm there in the morning when I'm like, when I wake up and then I like start practicing, you know, when I'm doing my morning routine, I feel the best. And that is when I start to get into life, that's when it starts to go a little bit downhill for me. But I also noticed today that it was like, for the first time ever, I'm like embracing, did I already say this? Because I feel like I did. Embracing contrast. I did just say this, but yeah. So it's all intermingled, intermelded. as all part of the journey of like what I'm going through right now. And I finally do think that I will be able to get there, because I finally have I've reached a point, like, I felt the feeling of what it feels like to just not give a fuck about what people think. To just love yourself so unconditionally that it doesn't fucking matter. But it's like, that's when you're in alignment. That's how you, when you're seeing yourself as, you know, source sees you. But then, you know, when you're not in alignment, you know, everything else, all your normal like patterns of thought come back in. But I recognize them as these are just patterns of thoughts that I learned, which means that I can train myself to unlearn them. And I can train myself with practice to fucking unlearn them. And the reason why I'm now believing that it's fully possible is because I've now done things and like started learning things and practicing things that I never thought was possible before. Like I would think about these things, like for example, just being fully aware of your thoughts throughout the day and prioritizing feeling good. Like in theory, all of that before to me sounded like, okay, yeah, like I get it. Like I get the concept. But like in practice of actually doing it and like actually being aware of what you're doing and how it's making you feel in each and every single moment and prioritizing how you feel, like deliberately being like, no, I know that this is gonna make me feel bad, so I'm not gonna do that. Like Instagram, for example. And like being able to actually do that and like putting your feelings first. That's something that, you know, I just never really, it just didn't seem very possible to me before. I think I'm getting better every day. So that it just, when you realize and you see your growth of like, oh, like I once thought this was impossible and now it's possible. It's like now I know that it's possible for me to get to a place where I don't give a fuck about what anyone thinks. And I definitely think everything's always practice. It's practice. Practice. It's practice, bro. It's practice. It's practice. It's literally just practice. That's what it is. It's practice. And beliefs are all just practice thoughts, so that means you can just make new beliefs, you know, through practice. So, yeah. But again, right now I'm about to go start looking at footage and like maybe uploading stuff of videos that are the first time, it will be the first time of me like uploading videos like this. Like maybe the water thing was my first test because I didn't really edit the water video, but I knew from that moment that I wanted to start uploading things that weren't very edited, but it scares me still. And the only thing that it scares me about is just like literally the perception of other people. That's literally it. That's 100% it. 100%. Nothing else except for the perception of other people. So I just really need to get past that. Because when you're thinking about the perception of other people, like what other people are thinking about you, your source energy is not thinking about that at all whatsoever. So as soon as you're thinking about the perception of other people, you're out of alignment. As the second you think about that, you're out of alignment. So I really need to not think about that. So that is how I'm feeling. And if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, yeah, I'm like fucking scared about looking at footage and like going through it and like posting things. I'm scared. Especially because it's like a change. It's a change in my content from what it normally is. And like, yeah, but you know what? There's nothing to be afraid of, because one thing that I was writing about today is that I'm excited to practice going through contrast and learning how to manage that and still maintain a good feeling place, even in the midst of, you know, maybe like, for example, if you get a negative comment. For example, a comment being like, this video sucked. You should edit your videos more. Why'd you stop editing your videos? Like, in the midst of that, like, to be able to just stand firm and like not care. Just not care. Just literally just not care. You just have to not care. And like, that it all takes practice, you know. You need to experience these things in order to practice feeling good in the midst of something that's seemingly not good, you know. And I was learning that today, and that's part of my like lesson today, because the person who's staying in my apartment, you know, there was something that was like seemingly not good. It was like, you know, she was trying to get a package delivered, and you can't get packages delivered to my place unless you live there. Like the name has to match the person who lives there, and it was like stressing me out kind of. And I was like, and then I was like turning to embracing it. I was like, no, okay, I can like stay in alignment even through this. Like this is, and I started like telling myself, I did a focus wheel of like, you know, you know, why is this positive, and like all the good things about it, and like, you know, just staying positive. And I realized, you know, like, you need to go through stuff like this in order to fucking practice. It's step 4. Step 4 of Abraham's steps of things. It's like step 1 is you ask. Step 2 is source answers it. It's not your job. And then step 3 is allow. Allowing is like being in the receiving mode. And then step 4 is being really good at step 3. And then step 5 is experiencing contrast, but still remaining in alignment despite the contrast. So it's like step 4 and 5 are like, I think, kind of similar. I'm not really sure, but oh no, step 4 is like being in step 3 a lot, like being really good at staying in step 3. And then step 5 is like being able to stay in step 3 even in the midst of contrast. So I'm practicing step 3 and 4, and you can't get better at it unless you practice. So yeah, I feel like I'm rambling here. So this is
the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. And while she looked so sad in photographs, I absolutely love her.